I bought 15 different AliExpress gadgets and modules, not just to test them, but to actually use them in real electronics projects. Some are simple, some are surprisingly useful, and a few of them could easily become full project videos on their own. I will go through each product, explain what it does, how it works, and where it could be useful in your projects. By the end of the video, and with the extra details in the article on my website, you will have a better idea of which ones are worth adding to your own electronics toolbox. The first product is a digital voltmeter that can measure from 0 to 30 volts, and it has an OLED display. This sleek-looking device packs a powerful voltmeter. It is compact enough so it can be placed anywhere: workbenches, dashboards, battery packs, and so on. The device itself can be powered with any voltage between 3.5 volt up to 30 volts. So for example, if the power consumption of the device is not an issue, and you want to continuously monitor a circuit with voltages above 3.5 volt, then the device can be wired so that it can be powered from the monitored power rail. For example, perfect for continuously monitoring a car battery. The supply is connected to the G and V pins, whereas the voltage is measured between the G and V plus pins. When the above-mentioned self-powering method is used, the V and V plus tabs can be shorted together, and it is enough to run a single cable from the tabs as the positive pole. It packs a 12-bit ADC to allow accurate measurements. The accuracy is approximately 0.7%, so for 10 volt inputs, the error is only 0.07 volts. The display can accommodate 3 digits, so at voltages above 9.99 volt, this uncertain digit is masked away anyway due to the fact that there is only a single decimal digit is shown on the display. The sampling frequency of the device is 5 Hz, which is good enough for continuous monitoring of a slowly changing DC voltage. There are 2 sets of tabs, A and B, that can be shorted with a blob of solder. Shorting the A tab makes the V symbol disappear from the display, and shorting the B tab increases the sampling frequency from 5 Hz to 10 Hz. The device has a pre-installed self-adhesive sticker on the back of the PCB, so the display can be folded back and glued against the back of the PCB. This makes it even more compact. The next device is a power monitor or power supply with a built-in display. This is another power-related gadget, but with several extra functions. The coolest feature of it is that it can be powered from a PD-compatible USB-C power supply, and it can act as a programmable power supply. It cannot only request fixed, predefined voltages, but thanks to the PPS function, it can deliver any voltages between 3.3 and 21 volts depending on the power supply used. So with a proper cable and a power supply, this tiny circuit is basically an adjustable power supply with a monitored output. The requested voltage can be adjusted with a step size as small as 20 millivolts. However, if you want to use it as a standalone power meter with a wider range of voltages and higher current, then you have to use the onboard terminals and the supplied XT60 connectors. In this case, the input, and therefore the output, can be as high as 36 volts and 10 amperes. The output is monitored by an INA226 chip, which is capable of measuring from 0 to 36 volt using its built-in 16-bit AD converter. The device has 2 tiny buttons for control. It allows the user to adjust the requested power from the USB and change the parameters shown on the display. It even has an app that allows you to manipulate the parameters from your PC, so if your PC's USB port can deliver power, you can have a programmable power supply controlled from your computer. However, I would not dare to connect any power-related stuff to my PC in case I short-circuit something. The manufacturer shared a lot of resources, including the software, on their GitHub, so check their page. The next item is a small device which is more of a fun gadget than something serious. It is a small, 0.96 inch 80 x 160 pixels color display USB stick that can be directly plugged into a female USB-A port. Its USB pins are exposed on both sides of the terminal, which means that the device can be plugged into a socket in any direction. But after deciding the orientation of the dongle and before plugging it in, one of the sides must be covered using the sticker provided by the manufacturer. This helps to avoid shorting the USB port, so it is mandatory to do it. It can be used as a system monitor or as an external monitor. In both cases, we can use VX Studio's configurator software that allows us to build a custom layout with the parameters we want to show on the display. We can display CPU usage, memory usage, date and time, and so on. Alternatively, we can use it as a virtual monitor. However, due to the relatively tiny display size and resolution, it does not feel very practical to use it as an external monitor. Maybe on a regular PC, this device does not make as much sense because many users already have multiple monitors, and can use motherboard or GPU manufacturer software to display system health information and other data. However, for mini PCs, servers, Raspberry Pi systems, and other headless computers, it can serve as a very useful peripheral. These systems are often not connected to a monitor, so checking their status is not always straightforward. With this customizable display, we can show crucial system parameters such as CPU load, temperature, disk usage, network activity, uptime, and other parameters. The manufacturer shared a lot of information on their GitHub, plus you can get the screen projection app from SourceForge to use the device as an external monitor. This device is also a display which has 11 x 45 LEDs, which together create a matrix display. I picked the blue color, but it comes in several other colors as well. The device can be programmed via PC, and it also has a Bluetooth connectivity option. I tested it with its Bluetooth app because it was easy to download it from Play Store. The software allows 8 presets, and they can be sent to the display quickly and easily. The display can be put in Bluetooth download mode by pressing the top button twice. When the Bluetooth icon appears, the device is ready to receive the graphics. The upload process is relatively fast and easy. The display's brightness can be easily adjusted with the button on the module. It has a built-in 280 mAh lithium battery, so changing the brightness can extend the battery life, which can make the module into a fun wearable badge at events or a decoration at your office that can run during the day and charge during the night, and so on. Or, if you don't want to operate it from a battery, it has a built-in USB connector, so it can be powered via USB. The device comes with a built-in pin, so as I mentioned, it can be used as a badge. Furthermore, a self-adhesive magnet attachment is also included in the package. The next two products can be very useful. It is frustrating when you have an older but otherwise totally fine charger with a USB-A output and you only have a USB-C to USB-C cable for your more modern devices. Or you happen to have a charger with a USB-C output, but your older cable is a USB-A to USB-C one. Instead of buying a new charger or a new cable and generating more e-waste, these adapters solve these issues. One of the adapters is a male USB-A to female USB-C connector. This can convert your power adapter with an older USB-A terminal to a USB-C terminal. It supports quick charging protocol, so you can draw up to 5 amperes with these plugs, so quick charging should not be an issue. Furthermore, thanks to the USB 3.1 support, high-speed data transfers are not an issue either. The other adapter is even more sleek. It slides into a male USB-A terminal, which can be found on, for example, charging cables, and converts it into a male USB-C plug. So, if you have an older charging cable with a combination of USB-A and micro USB terminals, you can convert the old cable to a fully USB-C cable. It is just a USB 2.0 converter, so do not expect very high transfer speeds from it. But it is perfect for the old USB cables that you would otherwise throw away because you don't have a power supply with a USB-A connector around. Older tablets, phones, or even different microcontroller boards still use micro USB connectors where this gadget might be relevant. Since I was talking about USB-C related connectors, this charging circuit is also relevant because basically it's the same size as the USB-C port itself. It is ideal where space and weight are a concern, such as drones, IoT devices, smart wearables, and so on. The circuit has two LEDs, a charge indicator and a power indicator. The circuit is based on the LP4055 charging manager chip. According to the specifications and my measurements, the board can charge roughly at 600 mA current. This means that the program resistor is 1.6 kΩ. Increasing the resistor to 10 kΩ can reduce the charging current to roughly 100 to 120 mA, which is much more gentle for the battery. Plus, the charging heats the chip up to temperatures about 80 degrees Celsius. This might become even higher when the device is encapsulated and has worse heat dissipation possibilities. However, decreasing the charging current could make charging take forever for batteries with a large capacity. Replacing the program resistor or even soldering the wires for the battery requires steady hands and good tools because the space on the board is rather tight. This is another device with a USB-C connector. This miniature decoy allows you to negotiate different voltages with a compatible power adapter and draw currents up to 5 amps. It is ideal for a miniature benchtop power supply or for projects where you can use a USB-C power supply and want to have more power. The circuit is quite small, so it is easy to embed it in DIY projects. The device can negotiate the typical voltages 5, 9, 12, 15 and 20 volts. It has 2 pins for both the negative and the positive output terminals, so even at 5 amps the device should be fine and the traces should be also fine. The solder tabs for the voltage section are rather small and they are close to the resistors, so one must manipulate them carefully. The voltage selection is not super obvious, despite the fact that there is some kind of guidance on the backside of the PCB. Therefore I tested all the options and noted down the combinations. If you like solar-powered projects, then this device should be very useful for you. This small module is perfect for IoT devices or similar gadgets that must be placed outdoors and need a continuous power source. If you want to build some solar lamps to scatter around your garden, or if you have a few sensors or similar gadgets that you want to have outdoors, then this battery manager can help you. The device can receive power from a typical 5-volt solar panel and then convert it so it can charge a single cell lithium battery with up to 500 mA current. So with a large enough panel, a typical battery can be charged within a single sunny afternoon. The output voltage of the module is the same as the battery's voltage, so if you need, for example, 5 volts, you would need to add the boost converter. But nowadays, most of the microcontrollers can run at 3.3 volt, so if you have a modern enough microcontroller board, it already has everything needed for 3.3 volt operation. The module has standard JST connectors and even a small micro USB connector in case you want to charge with a more reliable power source than a solar panel, or you want to charge the battery full before putting it out on the field. However, it is important to mention that when you use it with a pouch type lithium battery, always double check the polarity of the battery's JST connector. Even though the connectors are standardized, certain manufacturers tend to flip the wires in their connectors. The device has 2 LEDs. A red LED indicates the charging process, and the green LED indicates when the battery is full. This gadget is a high power LED with a corresponding driver. The circuit is originally made for flashlights, therefore its driver circuit board has a coin shape, and the positive and negative terminals are distributed accordingly. This circuit is intended to be installed into metal cylinders used for flashlights. The inner disc on the back of the circuit board is the positive terminal, and the outer ring is the negative terminal. Also, due to the flashlight usage, its operating voltage is the same as that of the lithium batteries, around 3.7 to 4.2 volts. The circuit regulates the lithium battery's voltage to the LED's operating voltage, and it allows drawing enormous currents from the battery. So keep in mind that both the circuit and especially the LED can get really hot. But nothing says that it must be used for flashlights only. With the proper cooling of the LED and the circuit, they can be implemented into anything where high power light source is needed. I will probably look into the possibilities of embedding this chip into my metallurgical microscope to replace the current halogen light source in it. I bought the driver circuit which only has on-off functions, but there is another driver circuit which allows 5 different modes with different brightness as well as strobing effects. The LED is mounted on a copper PCB because of the enormous heat generated by it during operation. So when you use the device, make sure that you install it on a suitable heatsink. This cool device allows you to recycle your unused 18650 batteries and build them into a great power bank. It takes 6 batteries, so the capacity can reach up to 20,000 mAh or even more. Both the input and the output voltages can be 5, 9 or 12 volt through the USB-C port. Actually, it is a smart device, so with the proper client device, we can select what voltage we want to request from the power bank, and we can even use PPS to require unique voltage. The voltage requests can be 5 volt, 9 volt and 12 volt, and the PPS works between 5 to 11 volts. This power delivery option only works via the USB-C port, however, the other 2 USB-A ports still support quick charging, so they can deliver enough power for charging. It can charge multiple devices at the same time, and it also has a set of built-in LEDs, so it can be used as a camping light or a tabletop light in the garden or something else. The enclosure is transparent, which makes it look rather cool with the exposed batteries and electronics. On the PCB side, there is a small display that shows the charge status. This 150 ml dispenser is a must-have if you solder and want to clean your boards and tools easily. It allows you to dispense small amounts of isopropyl alcohol or your choice of solvent in a comfortable way. The 150 ml glass container is thick and durable. With its cap on, it almost looks as if it were a perfume bottle. Unlike other cheaper alternatives, this dispenser is entirely made of sturdy materials such as the glass container, the stainless steel tray and the tubing. Due to its weight, it is harder to knock it over, and if you accidentally touch it with the soldering iron, you won't damage it. The dispenser pumps the liquid up smoothly. It does not get stuck and spray liquid all over the place like some other cheap ones. However, unlike my cheap dispenser, this does not allow the liquid to flow back to the container quickly. This could be an issue when you accidentally pump too much liquid into the tray. Both the tray and the bottom of the steel pipe have a filter mesh, which makes it easier to avoid contaminating the liquid with foreign particles. This sponge could be closely related to the previously introduced glass dispenser. It is made of high-density cotton, which makes it very good at absorbing all the dirt during the cleaning process. The box contains 800 cubes, which is enough for a long time. The cubes are pre-cut, so one just needs to rip them out from the bunch as needed. The cubes are easiest to handle with a pair of tweezers. They can be folded into whatever shape, so they can reach tight corners and narrow spaces on the circuit board. They don't leave behind small strings like a cotton bud, so it really helps to keep the work clean. They are not restricted to just cleaning PCBs. They can be used for cleaning displays, glass surfaces, or basically anything that needs to be cleaned carefully. Since they are made of cotton, they do not contain any abrasives, therefore they don't damage softer surfaces. Also, because of this, they are not attacked by more aggressive solvents such as acetone, so they can be used for more stubborn stains. However, when you use acetone, you have to make sure that all the components you are about to clean can withstand it. It comes in a paper box that can be opened up in a way that makes it easy to access the sponge cubes. This brush is yet another cleaning related tool. It is basically a toothbrush for printed circuit boards. The brush has 10,000 80 micrometers diameter soft bristles. The bristles are as thin as human hair, so they can reach the tightest places on your circuit board. It is ideal for cleaning up boards with SMD components, but it can also deal with traditional ones. The bristles are made of polybutylene terephthalate, which is a solvent-resistant, mechanically strong thermoplastic polymer. It can be used for other things than circuit boards too. Thanks to its small bristles, it is effective in removing dust from small crevices and tight spaces. Just don't brush your teeth with it. Finally, another useful product for cleaning. The end of the stick is made of a sticky viscose material. It can be used to remove dust particles from sensitive surfaces. Instead of, for example, trying to brush the dust off and potentially scratching your camera lenses, you can use this tool to remove the dirt. The tip is fairly soft and flexible, so it can be pressed into small gaps and crevices. It is ideal for today's phones with multiple cameras. These cameras are often close to each other, and the dust and gunk can easily settle between the gaps. Or you can use it to remove dust and lint from your phone's speaker openings and so on. The pins can even be reused. Just wash them in warm water and blow dry them. So this was all the products I wanted to show you. My top products are the LED display panel and the power monitor. Probably they will receive their own individual videos as well. Which product did you like the most? Please let me know in the comment section. As usual, I wrote an article which can be found on my website. You can check the link in the description. I put some extra links and pictures in my article, so please check it. Also, if you like these kind of videos, please consider becoming a channel member. Your support can help me to allocate more resources to these kind of videos. I hope this video was useful to you. I hope you learned something, and see you in the next video.